been a long time waiting in the new year, but One Piece chapter 1037 is finally out. I don't know if it was a matter of just waiting a long time for a new chapter and it had like the scratches, or if this chapter was just really good, but I thoroughly enjoyed this chapter. Now before we hop into the chapter, let's take a look at the cover page. We've got Ichiji, Reiju, and Judge kinda just looking out from their castle. I'm assuming they're pretty much out of Whole Cake territory and just assessing the damage of their fleet. And the caption even says that Judge is letting out a sigh, so he's probably relieved that they just made it out alive. Like I mentioned before, I'm pretty sure this is going to end up with Germa running into the Fishman pirates and helping them, because they should be pretty messed up since they were fighting Big Mom at the end there. So I'm assuming they're going to heal up some of them, probably help them get on their own way. And initially I thought that it'd be weird that Jinbei wouldn't say anything to Sanji about his dad, but Jinbei should understand their relationship, so he probably wouldn't say anything. We open the chapter with a single page on the Fire Festival. It's coming to a close and everyone's getting ready to launch fire lanterns, and they're writing their own messages so we can see some of the captions about people wanting to see family again, wishing for prosperity, things like that. What I think is going to happen with these lanterns is that once they're released into the sky, they're going to illuminate Onigashima because, for some reason, no one has seen the island yet, even though it's supposedly, 5 minutes away. Cut to Onigashima and we see that Kaido has started drinking. Now we know he has a drinking problem. He has had this since he's been introduced as a character. But I was definitely surprised to see him do it right in the middle of the fight. But he admits the reason he is drinking is because he's having fun. And one of the things about this fight and how it's evolved is that it went from Luffy trying to take down an emperor to very different, powerful individuals kind of just having a brawl. And even though he's drinking and kind of setting himself in a mood, I find it somewhat off-putting that Kaido is being so nonchalant about everything that's happening. Like he's talking about we're supposed to have a giant festival, but you've pretty much ruined that. And he's not really mad about it. He's not worried, he's not upset. He's just like, sucks to suck. And I think it's off-putting in a good way because I think it's telling of just the character that Kaido is and how he feels about this situation. He's still not worried about Luffy beating him. He's just having a good time now. It's weird because Luffy rushes in saying the thing I'm pretty sure a lot of people said when they saw the first panel of Kaido drinking, and that's using that drinking as an excuse for Kaido to lose this fight. But Kaido quickly assures that drinking will not make him lose his edge. In fact, he might be a little bit stronger when he's drunk. Luffy rushes in for an attack, but Kaido, as he talks about acknowledging Luffy, uses what he calls Shuran Hake. Now, the translation for this is like Sake Dragon, which is, I'm assuming instead of a move, it's more of a stance. Kind of like drunken stance, pretty much. And it has the addition of Hake, which is the same as Thunder Bagua, so Sake Dragon Bagua would be the rough translation. And it even covers to the rest of his moves because he uses Ragnarok again, but instead he says Laughing Drunk Ragnarok. And he makes direct contact with Luffy. He hits him so hard that he slams into the ground, and then the ceiling starts shattering into the dome. And we can see that Luffy's reeling over the attack, kind of like he did when he got hit by Blackbeard and Impel Down. Basically, he's holding his head and just shouting out in pain. Now, while this is all going on, Kaido switches to his full dragon form, and he turns to a sad drunk, and he starts talking about how Onigashima is being destroyed and how long it's going to take to rebuild. Basically, he seems like he is completely disinterested in the fight and he has gone to better things. Luffy's rushing in for another attack, and we get some interesting dialogue from Kaido where he says he did his best, but maybe it just wasn't good enough. Now, we know that he's been talking about Joy Boy, he's been talking about White Century stuff, Ancient Weapon stuff. There's a lot of lore surrounding Kaido. So what does he mean by he did his best? Clearly he was trying to do something here in Wano. Clearly he had something to do with Joy Boy and he wanted Yamato to take up that mantle. Even in this mindset, he interrupts Luffy's attack with his own Dragon Twister, basically point blank hitting Luffy with one of the cutting wind blades. Now Luffy has enough armament haki to deflect his slash. He doesn't completely block it, he has to kind of push it to the side. And then we have Crying Drunk Kaido, in which he switches back to his hybrid form. Now this is odd because in this form, it's the only one where Luffy gets a solid tag in on him. Whether this comes up later, I'm not sure, but crying mode or crying phase might be the weaker of the phases, if that's even a thing. I just noticed it's the only time he managed to get hit. Even getting hit doesn't seem to affect him that much because he still ends up grabbing Luffy and pulls him back in for a headbutt. And Luffy loses the headbutt again, which is really weird because whenever we see Luffy headbutt somebody, usually he comes out on top. Like, usually that's a pretty damaging move to whoever gets hit by it. But like, Ulti's been taking on his headbutts and now Kaido is. Luffy also makes mention that his haki is getting stronger. Now when you think about it, haki is supposed to be somewhat related to concentration, like Katakuri can't use Future Sight if he's not concentrated, if he's off his game. Yet in this drunken state, it seems like Kaido's skills have almost all taken a buff. Now he starts talking about how the headbutt kind of sobered him up, but that actually switches him to angry drunk, so he's still a little tipsy. And he starts launching pretty much the miniature blast breaths from hybrid form. As always, they don't connect because they're blast breath, but then we get a very nice clash between Kaido and Luffy. Luffy's using Rock Gatling and Kaido's using another new move, Gundari Meteor Shower, or Prime Dragon Army Meteor Shower. If you look at the panels right before they really start clashing, you see that Luffy notices something and we see Kaido rearing up for an attack. Now I'm wondering if this is observation haki because Kaido basically parries all of the Gatlings with his own move, but Luffy noticing him revving up first. I wonder if that's Kaido noticing what Luffy's about to do. I don't know if it's Future Sight or if it's just good observation haki, but when Luffy said that his haki was, pretty much getting stronger, it probably meant all of his haki. As in not just his conquerors, but his armament, his observation, all that probably got a buff. They land a few more blows, parry a few blows, pretty much they're going back and forth at this point. And we still see that Kaido is enjoying himself. He's even smiling right before Luffy kicks him in the gut, which he takes. However, it's a turning point because Luffy isn't smiling anymore. So I'm wondering if Luffy is getting worried about the fight or if he just has to be completely serious, even though Kaido isn't really being as serious as he could be. In a surprising and unexpected turn of events, we actually go to Marijoa and we see the 5 elders, the Gorosei. Now Oda being Oda gives us this absolutely tiny teaser of Reverie, and them mentioning that whatever happened pretty much was just a curse, but they're going to put it aside for now. They're conveniently not going to talk about it because Wano is more pressing. They weren't expecting the battle to be this intense, and they probably don't know what the outcome is going to be. They're probably like, Kaido and Big Mom could definitely lose here. Now, I'm still on the idea that while Kaido can lose, Big Mom's going to leave, but I think that kind of falls under the same category of both of them losing. They expect that Robin has been captured by now, but the fact that they haven't been informed means she probably hasn't. And they're talking about basically taking her out, so it's not even a capture to bring back or a capture to jail. They are absolutely trying to just erase her right here, right now, and then blame it on the actual war. Now, as they're talking, a report comes in from the ship surrounding Wano, mentioning that pretty much the area is being cloudy and shadowed. And this is the arrival of Zunisha, which I certainly didn't expect. Now, why Zunisha is coming to Wano, I'm not entirely sure. But based on the Gorosei's dialogue, there's some kind of awakening that's happening. Now, they say that the fruit hasn't awakened in centuries. It's basically a legend. But there was a fruit given a specific name, a unique name, by the world government. Naturally, this brings up a lot of questions and a lot of theories. For example, is Zunisha a fruit? Did Zunisha eat a fruit? Is there a fruit that's capable of controlling Zunisha, and that's why they named it something specific? You could even go as far as to say that a person ate the fruit that turned them into Zunisha, since we know that the lore of Zunisha is that it was pretty much sentenced to travel the world for a crime committed and walk the seas for eternity. Basically, whatever is happening here with Zunisha is even a myth or a legend for the Gorosei. This was something from 1,000 years ago, so it's not even something they have information on. It's not something that they're entirely aware of, and they don't think it's real at all. But whatever Zunisha is, whether it's a fruit or whether it's any of the other possibilities mentioned, it's definitely here now. And they are probably going to do an exposition dump on what exactly Zunisha is, what the crime was, all of that. As far as Zunisha coming to Wano, I would imagine it's something very similar to what Luffy did with Momo when he was underwater. Basically, he was talking to him via the voice of all things. Now, if Momo has some kind of control or sense over that ability, he may have been able to reach out to Zunisha. And Zunisha being here changes a lot of things. It's very possible that Zunisha might help Momo stop Onigashima from crashing into Wano. Now, I don't think Zunisha should be able to get there in time, considering we were, 5 minutes away, and there's no way Zunisha is moving fast enough to stop any of that. But who knows, it might be able to shoot a blast of water so pretty much overwhelming that it either puts out Kaido's clouds, it pushes the island in a different direction. I think there are a lot of possibilities that we can use here with Zunisha, because I don't think what Momo is doing is going to be effective. I don't think that's going to help at all. No. We can also think about Zunisha helping put out the fire of Onigashima, basically using its trunk and water to aid the alliance in some way, shape, or form is what I'm expecting. I don't think it's going to be anything further than that, but I do think it's here for that purpose and for a lore purpose. Now, what will be really interesting, but I don't think will happen, is if we end up seeing Noah's Ark here. If the Sea Kings end up bringing it all the way to Wano, and then we have pretty much this massive field of lore. We have Noah's Ark, we have Joy Boy, we have Wano, we have Zunisha, everything coming together in Wano, like they kind of prophesize it's supposed to. Like, Wano is the place where everything kind of happens. But that is going to do it for me. I thought this was a fantastic chapter. I'm happy to be back and reading One Piece. I'm glad it's back. I hope everyone has had a happy new year. Hope everything is going well. Please let me know how you felt about the chapter in the comments below. Like, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.